Welcome to Runescape 3. Now, before I start the video off, if you want information or just a general overview of the game, I highly suggest you watch my RuneScape 3 review instead. This video's purpose is to teach new players the basics of the interface and the combat system, giving them certain goals and quests to go for, aka a general direction to strive for in game, and teaching them how to train up their first levels in each skill. Just so you know what you're in for. Now let's get started, shall we? We will now proceed with the first time you load up the game. Once you've made an account, you are presented with a character creation screen. You can customize your character however you like. In this screen you can also choose one or three of the different game modes: normal mode, Ironman mode, and hardcore Ironman mode. Keep in mind your character's look can be changed at whatever time in game you wish to. If you're new to the game, I suggest picking the normal playstyle instead of the Ironman or hardcore Ironman mode. That's because it can be very challenging to new players. It's more or less a single player mode where you cannot trade or interact with other players except for chatting. Hardcore Ironman is the same thing as normal Ironman, except for when you die, you basically use your account. Now you can buy extra lives and stuff while you progress in game, but let's not talk about that today, shall we? Now once you've customized your character and chose a username, you start up your game for the first time. You will first be presented with a tutorial which you'll have to go through called the Tutorial Island, which will explain the basics of most skills. The skills themselves are pretty self-explanatory though. As an example, with fishing you fish for fish. Pretty basic, right? Now the difference is, after Tutorial Island, there's various methods to train up your skills, and that's where it gets difficult or confusing for newer players. But that's why this video is out there for you. After the Tutorial Island, you get teleported to Lumbridge, and this is where your RuneScape journey truly begins. In Lumbridge, you get a trail on your screen to the first quest in the path system called the Blood Pact. You can complete this first if you wish to. This will teach you some combat basics, and the quest will give you some combat experience. Now, the interface basics. Now with RuneScape 3, you can pretty much drag around anything. As you see on video, you can lay out abilities and just, everything is so diverse. Just for a standard interface, I suggest you go with retro. You can choose retro by pressing escape and going to interfaces, clicking the drop down and choosing retro. Now as you can see, there's various drop downs down in the bottom right corner. You can see your stats, your equipment, your inventory. You can click on them, and as you can see, there's quests and achievements where you can check which ones you've completed, your daily challenges, which when you complete them can give you lots of experience, your boss kills and stuff like that. But you're all going to get into that once you play the game by yourself. You'll notice you'll use it. You can also check your clan chat, friends chat, and friends and stuff. That's where you add them as seen on video. I mean, for the interface, if you look for something and all you have to do is really press escape and go to settings or clicks and drop down menus, you're bound to find it yourself. Now some things are a bit hidden, I guess, and you might want to know where you can find them. I mean, there's way too much to cover, but the important ones are that you can change your combat mode from Legacy to Revolution or the other way around, and the multiple action bars, which I explained in a tips and tricks video as seen on video, and you can actually bind them to a certain attack style. So you have an action bar with abilities, and you probably don't even know what abilities are just yet if you just started out, but you can bind them to a certain weapon style. When you click it, it will automatically go there. Now I personally suggest activating Revolution mode, as this way you won't have to use abilities yourself, and as you learn you can go to manual if you wish to. Anyways, the important one is combat experience, and then you can choose what type of combat experience you gain by using a particular style. I suggest training up your stats all at the same time if you're new, because this way you'll have an even balance of your defense and range level, and you can upgrade as you go. And if you're curious, there's no particular best combat style, it's just down to personal preference really. But in some situations, a particular combat style can do more damage or have higher accuracy, or the range can just be more useful than using melee, for example, and stuff like that. And another one that might be particularly useful is under social, chat customization, and then the custom message colors. You can change the colors of pretty much any chat to whatever you like. So you can change the public chat, friends chat, clan chat, etc. And it's very, very nice to have. Now, before I get into the basics of training each skill to at least level 40, at least for the free-to-play skills, I just want to cover some good quests you want to be completing if you're a free-to-play player for some decent experience. Those quests are the Knight's Sword, the Witch's House, and Vampire Slayer. Now, do keep in mind that the Knight's Sword quest does require at least level 10 mining, just so you know, and every quest is pretty much the same. You start it at an NPC and then you just follow a wiki or video guide on YouTube, or you try to figure it out by yourself depending on what your playstyle is. In fact, I'll leave a spreadsheet in the description below with a list of quests you want to be completing as a free-to-play player and once you get membership as a member. Quests like the Fighting Arena, the Waterfall quest, or the Grand Tree, or the Dig Site quest, quests like that are very good when starting off. Now, if you didn't know already, quests are a big part of RuneScape 3. They give you access to certain monsters, locations, special skilling methods or boosts, and they give you a big chunk of experience most of the time. Now, if you're unsure on where to start a quest or what the requirements or rewards are and you want to look it up in-game, click on the compass as seen on video, then click show all the hidden items from a quest once you've found it in the list. Now, if you guys did not know, the way to travel around RuneScape 3 is through Lodestones. You can find them at each city. You just have to click on them to unlock them, and then you can use them by clicking the H or home button on your minimap, and then just teleporting to them. I'll be using the Lodestones as a general way to get to a certain place when explaining on how to train your skills in free-to-play. Now, if you're a new RuneScape player, I expect you to be free to play and not members. If you are a members new player though, you can still use these methods as most of the earlier levels are pretty much the same in members as they are in free to play. So there's Dungeoneering, the combat skills called Attack, Strength, Defense, Magic and Ranged. There's Prayer, there's Mining, Smithing, Fire Making, which is such a useless skill, Woodcutting, Cooking, Fishing, Fletching, Runecrafting and Crafting. I'll now be covering on how to get your first levels in all of these skills. To get your first melee, ranged and magic combat stats up, teleport to Birth Rope and go inside the cave as seen on video. At the entrance there's an NPC you can trade for a free weapon. Once inside you want to start killing these trolls. These trolls will also drop tier 1 gear for ranged, magic and melee depending on which side you're killing them. There's 3 little mini caves inside the caves. One side drops melee gear, the other drops ranged, and the other drops magic. It's probably best at this point that I explain there's 2 different combat systems. There's the normal RuneScape combat system with Revolution and Full Manual, and there's the Legacy, which is the older RuneScape version of combat. You can easily access this in the settings and change it, but if you're using Revolution or Full Manual, you're going to be leveling up your stats and unlocking abilities. While training, if you don't want to figure out how to make an action bar, you can easily just right click your action bar on the wheel and choose Setup Action Bar. If you do this every 20 levels or so, you'll see more abilities getting added each time. And this way you can just, kill without thinking, or just level up your combat without thinking, and eventually you'll understand the system and make up your own action bar however you like it. Now, Prayer can be trained for free at the Nexus in the Lumbridge Swamp, as seen on video, but you can also train Prayer by killing things in combat and burying the bones or scattering the ashes. Another way of training Prayer is by just buying dragon bones or any other type of prey item on the Grand Exchange and burying it. This is very costly, however. In members, you would put these items on a gilded altar. Now, the Grand Exchange is located in Varrock, and it's very important that you know about this place, as the Grand Exchange is pretty much your point or place to be to sell your items to other players, as you can just put them in and eventually a other player will buy them. You can access the Grand Exchange by talking to the Grand Exchange tutor. Now, mining and smithing should be trained together at the lower levels, at least I think so for a newer player. Now, in the future, the mining and smithing rework will have happened, but this should be around the same method, I guess. You want to mine some tin and copper ore in the Lumbridge Swamp mine, then bring this back to the Lumbridge Forge, smelt it into a bronze bar, and smith equipment out of this. You can repeat this process until you have at least level 15. Then I suggest looking up a mining and smithing 1 to 99 guide. At level 10 mining, you can also complete the Knight Sword quest and get level 28 smithing instantly. Next up are fishing, cooking, woodcutting and firemaking, which can all be trained at one spot together in Taverley. So walk there from Burthrope or teleport to the Lodestone. Here you want to be chopping down the regular trees and you can then burn them for firemaking experience. Right next to you is a little lake or puddle where you can fish for crayfish. Once you catch these crayfish, you can actually cook them on the fires you made with your logs from woodcutting to gain cooking experience. You can do this up to level 15 cooking, and then you want to be cooking trout, and the same goes for fishing. At level 15 you can go and fish trout. You can find these at the Barbarian Village. If you do not know how to get here, just wiki the location. Now, as an example, you can also just buy crayfish and logs from the Grand Exchange and just burn them like that, or just cook the fish just like that without fishing them yourself. But this is just a general example on how to train your skills if you don't have any money and are just starting off. As for fletching, it's pretty much what the skill name describes. It's fletching, so you need to have logs, and then you can just left click them and cut them into arrow shafts, which is actually profitable if you're doing normal logs or cutting them yourself. And it's one of the best methods to train fletching at a lower level. Alternatively, you can also cut them into unstrung bows, and then you'll require bowstring to create them into strung bows for even more fletching experience. Now again, you can make this string yourself using the crafting skill. The way you do this is you pick flax in the flax fields of Taverley, then bring this to the spinning wheel as seen on video, and then string it into bowstring. This gives you a lot of crafting experience, and it's also recommended you do this for your first crafting levels. Now, the best way to train rune crafting, especially at lower levels and AFK, is by doing Runespan. Runespan is located at the top of the Wizard's Tower, and the Wizard's Tower is located close to Lumbridge, between Lumbridge and Draenor. I'll show you how to get there on video now. I'll be honest with you guys, explaining all of these skills in just a few minutes is actually pretty damn tricky. So what you do to start training is you pretty much just click the floating essence, then click on the S-lanes to get runes to go to the other platforms in Runespan, or you click on one of these skilling nodes, if that's what you call them, and then you get more experience per hour. Again, if you want more information, just look up a Runespan guide for Runescape. Now, the last skill to cover is dungeoneering, and it's more or less a mini game slash a combination of all skills in RuneScape. So the way you get there is teleporting to the Lumbridge Lodestone, going to the swamp, going to the little boat as seen on video, going with the boat to Daemerheim, or whatever it's called, I can't pronounce it properly, and then going to the NPC as seen on video to get a ring. Then you want to left click form party and just start a dungeon as seen on video. Now you will at the beginning only be able to do a complexity 1, then 2, 3, 4, etc. And the difficulty gets higher, you get puzzles and doors you have to open with skills, but first it's just purely combat. Now at the end of a dungeon you'll encounter a boss, and once you've killed the boss and end the dungeon you get tokens and experience in the skill. And with the tokens you can buy a variety of rewards at the dungeoneering shop. And you can buy a multitude of things that boost your skilling, efficiency, or you can buy weapons, which are pretty good, but you know, these days are not really relevant anymore. And by weapons, I mean the chaotics, the member ones. As a free-to-play player, you can get the best free-to-play weapons in the game, called the Gravite weapons, which cost 40,000 dungeoneering tokens each for the main hand weapons. And on that note, I want to conclude the basics, or the way you start training most skills in RuneScape, being all the free-to-play skills. Now, I hope this guide helped you guys out. I have mixed feelings about this video already. That's just because there's just so much to know about RuneScape, and that's why I'm going to refer you guys to a spreadsheet again in the description below, which will show you links to videos, links to quests, links to my guides, and I really do recommend you check out my channel for a multitude of guides on things in RuneScape. I recommend you watch the review, especially if you're new, just to learn what things there are, like how you join a clan, if there's mini games, where you can start them, stuff like that. There's just so much to cover. But at least you know a bit more than that you did after Tutorial Island thanks to this video. At least I hope so. So if you did find it helpful, please let me know down in the comments below or drop a like. Maybe even consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
When you feeling down on your luck, you're tired and stuck, enough is enough. You gotta pick yourself up, cause life gets hard, it might leave scars.